Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. On our channel we talk about all things homesteading and try to implement some of those things on our rural 100 acres here in southern West Virginia. Well, in today's video, this is part 2 of the video we did on Monday. If you want to know about that video, check it out right there. One of our viewers, Carrie Hyder, asked the question, what do you think about NorTrac tractors, the tractors sold by Northern Tool? And then we had some other questions about the same time. I decided to pair these together, asking about Rural King tractors. What do I think about their branded tractor? So in the last episode, Monday's video, we talked about the Rural King tractor in depth. Well, today, part 2, I want to talk about the NorTrac tractor. So let's jump into that. Okay, some of you may be saying, what is NorTrac? Who the heck are they? Well, that's a very good question, actually. NorTrac is the brand of tractor that Northern Tools, what used to be Northern Hydraulics, large tool company, I think they're located in Minnesota, they, of course, started selling tractors. And they've done this for a while. I remember many years ago, they had a bulldozer that they sold, and it was a bulldozer, we'll say. We'll just leave it at that. It was a very unique piece of equipment. So if you do some research on NorTrac, who is the manufacturer of NorTrac, you'll see that name changes a bit. I may slaughter these names, but Genma, Photon, engines by Shibara, and an assortment of other engines depending on the year of manufacture and, of course, who was doing the actual chassis manufacture. So there's a lot of variation there. So just like I did with the Rural King, I wanted to do a comparative analysis between their tractor, NorTrac's tractor, and what I'm familiar with, what I'm used to. And again, I'm standing here in front of my Coyote DK35. This tractor is 15 years old. It's a 2002 model. And so looking at what was the comparable model that NorTrac offered, well, they have the NorTrac 35 XT. It's a 35 horse tractor, just like this. It was four-wheel drive and has a front loader. So again, just like this, four-wheel drive with a front loader. According to my research, the tractor is manufactured and assembled in China. But other research, looking at the Northern Tools website, says there's final assembly takes place in Minnesota. Now, being in marketing, that could be a marketing speak for when we get it in, we put the tires on it. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I don't know what that is. But they claim that final assembly takes place in Minnesota and multi-point inspection, all that type of stuff happens. Actually, their loader is American-made. I'm not quite sure who the manufacturer of their loader is, but it is an American-made loader. Their powertrain is a 35-horse engine manufactured by Lidong. I assume I'm pronouncing that right. And is also Tier 4 EPA compliant. And again, take that for whatever that's worth. So the obvious question, of course, is what about parts, labor, and service? Well, obviously parts, Northern Tool, they're used to shipping parts, tools, all those type of things. So you can get parts all day long on their website should you need them. Service is another question. When you look on Northern Tool's website concerning service on NorTrac tractors, basically says give our service team a call and we can consult with you and help you find a local authorized dealer for service. Now they don't list, I couldn't find anywhere the list of authorized dealers. If you see it, post it below and we'll share it. But I couldn't find it anywhere. And again, in my experience in marketing, that usually means that list is probably fluid, that it changes a bit. But there could be an authorized service dealer around you, or there may not be. That's something you definitely need to do your homework on. I do know that Northern really doesn't do service, so they're not taking control over that. They're outsourcing that to third party all the time. Well, what about warranty? Their warranty is a standard 24-24, 24-month parts, 24-month labor. There doesn't appear to be any deductibles. I couldn't find a lot of fine print on that, but it seemed like a basic 24-month. The other side of that is you can buy an extended warranty, another 1 year, unlimited parts and labor for another $900, and there's supposedly an option to go for a 2-year there, so you could keep buying warranty there. Again, who's doing the warranty work would be my big question. That would be something I'd really want to have a good, comfortable feeling before I would ever consider a purchase there. So in trying to unpack this idea of parts and services more, I started doing more research, started looking at third-party forums and Tractor Talk type things, trying to get an idea of what's out there, because I really felt that that the NorTrac tractor was kind of a black hole. Their marketing was very basic. I mean, it's the typical brochure stuff you'd see, but they really didn't get too deep into it. Some reviews on their website, but again, you know how that is. When you control reviews, you can do whatever you want with them. So in looking at these third-party sources, again, since it's the internet, we know everything on the internet's true, so we should be able to take all of this at face value. No, that's not correct. But if you're doing this type of research, again, just weigh these things. With these forums, jump on there and actually communicate with these people if you see something that you want more information on or you have a question about. But in what I've found, there's this typical thing that you find on the internet. There's the two camps on either side and then everything in between. Some people saying these things are absolute junk. Don't waste your time. It's a waste of money, blah, 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 blah. Some people saying, wow, this tractor really exceeded my expectations. The ones I found that said that, though, did say, well, I really didn't have that high expectations to begin with. So it wasn't like this thing turned out to be a Cadillac. It still had some issues, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Kind of the overall theme I picked up on this, on these discussions and looking on these third-party sources concerning the NorTrac tractor is, this is a good tractor if, and that if was big, if you don't need a tractor every day, or this would not be your primary tractor. If this was going to be a secondary tractor or a smaller tractor you're going to use for other things, then maybe it's okay. But if it's your primary tractor, it's not going to be reliable enough to do your daily work. The second takeaway from that is if you like to work on things, then the NorTrac tractor could be for you. Now again, third-party source is what it is, but there's a lot of truth to that. If you don't mind working on things, figuring stuff out, if you're mechanically adept or you don't mind getting dirty, you like turning wrenches, then maybe you can get a much cheaper tractor for something that may require some work, but if you like working on stuff, there you go. So if you're a hobby mechanic and you like tearing stuff apart, maybe this is your bag. So looking at these NorTrac tractors, my takeaway from this, again, is the tractor, as far as market value goes, looking at it face value, looking at what their branding and their marketing does, it's a pretty basic tractor. Again, it's not stepping out of the realm of, there's not a lot of bells and whistles on it, but there's not a lot of key things missing. I mean, it still has ROPS, it still has safety features, the bucket, the engine, the horsepower output, all that type of stuff, the size, the weight. Yeah, I mean, still kind of falls within what you would expect a standard compact 35 horse tractor to be. The big question is what about the actual manufacture of it? You think about a tractor is something that's supposed to last long, so just how well is it built? How well are the welds? What's the quality of steel used? You always hear these fears and rumors about Chinese steel being a big issue. A, it doesn't last long. B, it's just wrong kind of alloy concentration, so it breaks, it rusts, the welds break, whatever the case may be. But in full disclosure, again, I have not worked on one of these tractors. I've not worked one, I've not driven one, I've not even seen a NorTrac tractor. So again, as with everybody on the internet, we have opinions, but mine's not really educated in the sense that I've been on that tractor, I've used it, I've had to repair it, I've had to do anything like that. So I really don't have what I consider a true, honest assessment of that tractor. If Northern Tool wanted to send me a tractor to play with for a couple months and do a review, I'd be more than happy to do it. Don't think that's going to happen though. The thing that really jumps out about me though is the number of manufacturing variables. There's just so many different manufacturers over the year of who actually made the tractor chassis. Again, they introduce new models, new lines, new improvements, so you'd expect some variation there, but it just seems to jump around quite a bit as far as who's manufacturing what. This engine, this chassis, this drivetrain, all those type of things seem to be different. One thing that I noticed on the forums as well that really would be a mark in the minus column was a lot of discussion about parts. They could get the parts, but not exactly sure what they're ordering, how they're ordering. If they have the part in their hand that they need to replace, then they could track that down pretty well. But if for some reason they didn't have that part, it became a little bit of a mystery, a little bit of a clue game there, trying to figure out what part do we need. And then actually getting those parts and not exactly lining up. Several instances where people reported that this part didn't quite bolt up like the last one did. That's interesting too. I've even run into that with Coyote a little bit. In fact, my left front tire is the size tire it's supposed to have on it. That's a Titan tire, and the tires that I have on here are the tires that came with Coyote. But that tire is just a little bit narrower. And even though it's got the exact same size specs, it was a little bit trickier to put on the rim than this one was. So that's, that's stuff you're going to run into all the time when you're dealing with these imports. Looking at Northern Tools service and customer service and support, it really isn't necessarily an online support as much as it is an online guide to show you how to find support and service for your tractor. Again, I didn't call, I didn't talk to them, I didn't have a tractor to talk about specific instances, so that may not be a fully fair assessment, but everything in their marketing just kind of says, well, call us and we'll help you figure it out. Okay, maybe that works, maybe that doesn't. And one other thing, and just again, my takeaway from this is only my opinion. Have you ever looked at something and you think, okay, that just looks cheap? And that's kind of the feeling I get. That's the old visceral, the gut reaction that I have. My spidey senses are tingling when I look at that tractor and think, yeah, I don't know. That thing just doesn't look like it's built very solid. If you had one, which I wish I did, if I had one to park right here beside the Coyote, things just look a little beefier on these tractors than they would, say, on a NorTrac. Again, trying to go through all the specs, GVW, all that stuff is about the same, so maybe I'm just looking at it wrong, but everything just looks a little flimsier to me. And of course, the $25,000 question, well, maybe it's the $20,000 question in this situation, but the obvious question is, where does it fall in price? So again, when comparing their 35 horse to my 35 horse, or even the Rural King 35 horse, 37 horse that it was actually, the NorTrac tractor comparable to this model and comparable to the RK37 was $16,999, so 17 grand. And if you remember if you watched a video 2 days ago, the RK37 was 20 grand. And then this tractor, closest I can find, the CK3510, was about 24 grand. So if you're looking at 17 to 20 to 24, but if you're just comparing Rural King and NorTrac, you're looking at a swing of only $3,000. If I would do the Pepsi challenge between the RK37 and the NorTrac, then I'd say, well, for $3,000, there's a lot more comfort level I would have with the RK than I would with the NorTrac. So again, that's just me personally speaking, that it would be worth, I think, the extra $3,000 to maybe go something with has a little bit more backing behind it. They'll give me a little more comfort level. Again, having a local Rural King with their service there, then I would have that. So the cost savings really isn't huge. So I know, Carrie, that was one of your original questions. They just seem so inexpensive. Is it worth looking into? Again, with some of these other options out there, and again, there's tons of tractor manufacturers now, and we're just talking about two, but if I was comparing those two, NorTrac and Rural King, then the $3,000 swing really isn't that big a deal. One thing I really didn't mention about the RK37, and basically you're going to find this with any new tractor now, is this EPA Tier 4 compliance. I'm no diesel mechanic, but I know some guys that are diesel mechanics, and that's one of those things. It's just an aggravation. It's just something else to take a simple diesel 3-cylinder engine and just jack it up by putting all this stuff on it. Now again, I'm not saying we trash the planet. I'm not saying that we just keep pumping out diesel emissions all willy-nilly and stuff, but at some point when you start to impede the ability for something to work, something to function, then that becomes an issue. So Tier 4, for whatever it's worth, basically all new tractors are going to have it anyway. But if I was getting a tractor that I was going to have to work on anyway, it had a reputation of saying you're going to be working on this tractor, then that Tier 4 engine would again concern me a little bit. That's what I like about this Coyote. In fact, I hope this thing lasts for a long time because it is a very simple 3-cylinder, not a bunch of bells and whistles on it. It's something that I know how to take apart. So again, like I mentioned in the RK37 video, things to consider before considering purchasing a NorTrac tractor. How long are you planning to keep the tractor? So a NorTrac tractor, if you're going to have it and say, well, I'm going to have this for the length of the time that I'm on my homestead or on my farm, okay, then you may be putting a lot more money into that thing on down the road. I just don't think it has the longevity of some other brands. What about resale value? Is resale value important? If you say, well, I think I'm going to have this tractor for a little bit, get a feel for what I need once I get on my land and kind of figure it out, then maybe I'll get something else. Well, at that point, that NorTrac may not be worth much as far as trade goes. Usually 4-wheel drive tractors, depending on your yard, do have some value no matter what, but like I said, I've never experienced a NorTrac. I don't know what its trade-in value is. I figure it would be less than your typical tractor. Do you have mechanical abilities? Do you like to work on things? If you don't feel comfortable lifting the hood of your tractor and start turning things with wrenches, then I'd say you may want to stay away from that tractor. Again, everything I've read says you will be working on that tractor at some point. Is downtime a big issue? Again, if you're getting a tractor that you're going to use as a daily use tractor, it's going to be a vital part of your operation on your homestead or farm, then again, I don't know that I would count too heavily on the NorTrac being readily available, being fully functional all the time. It may be in your service garage more than it is out in your barn. And of course, what is your budget? Maybe that's what determines all this. If you feel that, well, no, I just can't swing any other brand, that's the brand I got to go with, then it is what it is. Now again, if you were asking me point blank, hey, my budget's 17 grand, I'm thinking about buying a new NorTrac, or what are my other options? I would suggest go find something used. Go find a brand that has a little bit more reputation behind it, even if it's used, to say, well, I could still spend 17 grand and get whatever. I mean, believe it or not, there are some John Deeres out there that are 17,000. I don't bleed green, so those of you that do know I'm speaking heresy if I talk about other things. There's Kubota, of course. I've been impressed with Coyote, no doubt about it. There's just a lot of tractors. Mahindra is growing like leaps and bounds. Now again, I know there's some people that don't like Mahindra because they seem to be dropping off in quality, but Mahindra still has a big share of the market right now. There's just a lot of options. There's a lot of tractors out there, and tractors are everywhere, so there's a lot of used equipment. So I wouldn't say I'm going to max my budget out at 17 grand to buy a brand new NorTrac when there could be a lot of other used options on the table there. Well, again, you kind of feel the flavor I have for this tractor, but I'm not really going to come around and say, do not buy this tractor, stay away from it. Without being on it, without using it, I really don't feel comfortable saying that, but I'd be very, very leery unless I really had a specific desire to work on a tractor or to try the challenge that would come with that tractor manufacturer. But as always, do your own research. Talk to somebody that has one. Get some discussion going. If you've got the opportunity to actually use one, ride one, drive it around a little bit, just get a feel for it, touch it, feel it, taste it, whatever you got to do to get the comfort level there on your tractor, I would suggest doing so. So no matter what tractor you buy, I hope you do your research, I hope you look into it, and I hope you have success with it. Every single manufacturer can have a tractor that's a piece of junk. So just like anything else, we're all fallible, we make fallible products. So good luck, Carrie, in your tractor search, and anyone else looking for tractors. I hope you have success in looking for what you need. Well, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. We do videos 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Red Toolhouse Farm. Take care, everybody.